suppose, of Downfall.
They definitely did have better fundamentals in what we've seen from them. And a newer map like Vertigo as well, that's, in the initial stages of a team's development, you're relying on some good fundamentals before you're relying on some strategy. So with Nuke, I think, both these two teams, it's a map that you have to play if you want to challenge top teams in this region, because it's something that they leave the door open to on a lot of the vetoes and will quite willingly pick, as well as we've seen yesterday. It's pretty much being laid out in front of us that these three maps that we're seeing in this best of three are some of the newer maps that the teams are willing to play each other on. We've seen a lot of Counter-Strike in this region in a short period of time. And, this is where the data is pushing a lot of these teams to veto.
Yeah, it's very odd though, isn't it? Because when we looked at this tournament, we obviously thought that we would see your Mirage, your Dust 2, and instead we've had, what is it, 3 plays of Nuke, 2 of Inferno, and 2 of Vertigo, and this will be the fourth Nuke. So it's a bit of a change up versus what we were expecting from these guys, that's for sure. But I'm happy. I'm very happy with it, Jim. I honestly, I can't tell you how happy I am, because Mirage and Dust 2, it gets very monotonous. If you do a whole tournament, like 5 days isn't too bad, but when we do the Asian region and you've got Dust 2 every game for a month, it is mind-numbing at a certain point. Like, you will not want to get out of bed in the morning knowing that you've got 3 Dust 2s to look forward to. But hey, I'm all for this. Let's get more of these Oceanic teams.
Yeah, look, I mean, if this is the way things are going to play out, it's a huge shift, from what a lot of people might have seen from this region traditionally, with your Mirages, your Infernos, and of course your Dust 2s. And I think, whilst Inferno remains in the pool, it's not as commonly picked as one of the first maps. It's usually being left in the map pool by a lot of the teams. So I think in terms of what we're expecting from both these two teams, I think we saw some good foundation play coming out from Ground Zero. The youngsters, as I said, the focus is going to be heavily on them, whether or not they can perform in these high pressure situations. And I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far from Lays. The question is, what can he continue to do as he progresses in this tournament? Will they be going through the upper bracket, or will they be having to fight their way brawler style through the lower bracket?
Yeah, so Lays did have a really, really good game. What I will say, though, is that Burn, Are You Okay, had some really weird takes on aggression, and I feel like they'll be punished a little more on Nuke. Maybe not even by Downfall, but when they move on, I'll echo what Tom said. When you move on to later stage and you're playing against these better teams, like if they win this, they're up against Renegades. That's not a team that you're going to get a whole lot of freedom against. And so you're realistically going to have to be running a much tighter ship by the time you come up against them. And if they play the way they did here, let's take some rounds as an example. Burn, Are You Okay got an opening duel on ramp. They sprayed through the smoke. I can't remember who it was, but they found a second on the back of it. I think it might have been Lays that got it. And then Burn pushed the smoke. 5 versus 3, there's no need, and gave the advantage back, or at least gave a chance to Downfall. This pistol round's already live, and they're just shredding each other towards the ramp. Time for Mizzy to run away, but they've got a man advantage now, and Downfall pulling ahead, at least, to start this one off.
They've got control of ramp, but they haven't really progressed through. In fact, Downfall have been quite willing to actually give them control here. Bernie Woke has actually forced his way through the top side, so he's going to find Moop. They take total control, as they will be able to get the bomb plant down here now, but 2D just lurking present in those vents, and they have been forced out of top side. This is tough to retake on pistol. That's sharp from Burn. Given a lack of utility, this is going to be a very interesting retake here. Savage, he maintains control of Heaven, and it's all now on 2D to spur out of the vent. He does actually spring to life straight out, but Noob's still with the Julies. What can he craft here? They haven't touched the bomb just yet, so he doesn't need to spare any action. However, he's found the first, and now they're going to play a high-stakes game of Ring Around the Rosie, as he will play that timer, and he does do enough quite comfortably for Ground Zero to take that round. Again, Bernie, you okay? He's getting information. He's pushing and putting himself in positions to then rally the team around him. So this is the kind of IGL that we've seen from him. He's a little bit of a martyr in what he does for the team, puts himself into positions first, gets the information, and then calls off the back of that. I mean, that probably spurs on from the fact that when we first saw him in this region as a player, he was on that entry frag role. He was that guy that was getting that info. So it's led on to be the style of IGL, and so far it's worked for them.
I'm quite surprised actually. I don't know why this hit me so much, but the movement there with the dualies made it look like it made it look like Quake almost. It's quite interesting. Oh, look at that, down on top of his head. Bernie, you okay? I talked about over aggression, and I think it kind of shows a little bit. The Downfall they're coming through with their own over aggression. This boy, I think he thought he was playing Super Mario there, so jumping on their heads, thinking they were a little mushroom man.
Straight for the Goomba.
This is dangerous.
Doable.
So, thing is, Noob is just shy of one hit with a deagle, but if he gets the first... So if he took Lays down with a deagle and then switched to the scout, which I think was probably unlikely anyways, but he could have had one hell of a clutch on that one. But unfortunately, it doesn't go their way. That's 2-0, ground zero. And on the T side of Nuke, you know, I really don't want to see them get off to a good start if we're going to have any faith in Downfall being able to really answer back. But the problem is we've seen the same thing now, right? You win the pistol, you win the force buy, and now we go over to the eco. It's reminiscent of like 3 or 4 years ago in Counter-Strike. You remember it was always the same. You win the pistol, then there's a force buy. There was nobody ecoed second round, but the current loss bonus, so some teams do. These guys
the meta
absolutely don't.
The meta back then was force buy every round. Eco is for losers. That's essentially the.
That's not still the meta. Oh shit.
Yeah, look, you know, some of us like to play old metas a lot, but you're right. I think you know, this is a bit of a throwback to days gone by, but they are making their way into this top site. Last round they ran into a top site stat, so it was difficult for them. Moot might have something on offer here, but the P2K makes it work. They haven't exactly sprung into action just yet, but they are going to spray. Oh, he's making this work somehow. And they do eventually take him down, but not before he does deal with 2. So depending on what Ground Zero choose to do here, they're probably not going to overextend themselves too much. So they're just going to watch the weaponry as it is. Mizzy is just biding his time.
Look at the HP though. Like Noobsters has got 2 health. Bernie, you okay on 37? Is like Mizzy can get this. Guy dropped though. He's missed the shots. I could have been an AK retrieved. No one was in a position to too quickly trade him out, so I think he possibly could have gotten that AK, depending on if Lays could have gotten sight in him in time, and at least caused extra damage, right? Because with Ground Zero getting off to such a flying start, you want to keep their economy nice and low, and that kill would have went a ways towards doing that.
It would have been a nice bonus to take into this round, certainly for that CT side, but didn't hit the shot. That's what it came down to. Just needed to take what was on offer to him here, as we do see Ground Zero just set those progression smokes on the outside. Question is, are they going to send anyone through them? 2D is in information getting position here, but he's flashed out at the right moment. He doesn't see anyone. In fact, he's going to face in that dual makeup. That's fine. Heavy presence actually outside from Downfall, so Maker could do some damage here and gain some valuable position, but he doesn't win that duel against Mizzy, so the numbers slightly in favor of Downfall, and they have control of outside, but Lays is in a very precarious position. He actually opts to back off somewhat, seeing what he can find. He doesn't want to overexpose himself. I think that was the danger with being too heavily invested at ramp. So Ground Zero have just made that shift back towards T-Lobby here, seeing what they can do. And Downfall still have firm control of some key areas of the map. Moop in very important position. I don't think he's going to be of use of them for the moment, but I think they're interested in this top site.
They definitely are. They're showing their interest by going through and finding some kills on it. Mizzy's already gone, and with that, they should be able to get themselves a nice, comfortable plant. Got the manpower to cover off these angles. Someone has to be checking main. It's the walk through by Savage. An easy kill to Lays. Caught unaware and spammed through the vent. Now at 2 versus 3. More winnable position for Downfall, but they still have to deal with these players. Lamas was watching the right angle. His move came through. What a shot by Noob. He shut down afterwards, and look, he knows where Lamas was. He's looking for him in the hut, but unfortunately, he's towards main. The first few shots missed, but connecting eventually. And with that, Ground Zero pick up a 4th and push Downfall to another eco. And they can get a little bit more bought up on this one, even a scout if they want, to try and bridge the gap in the range towards outside. But that is a heartbreaking round. Lamas catching so many of these players off guard. In fact, all three, he got completely unaware.
Llama's the silent infiltrator of D lobby here, but let's just see what Downfall do. It's a powerful position that Moop's actually in, but that's not where the focus is coming from Ground Zero. They're taking those ranged duels. They've got better weaponry. No need to face in top site. So they've just taken control of the ghetto stairs and just going to try and deathball their way into the lower bomb site here based on what they can get. So it's a fast play coming out, but Burn has actually snuck himself out of the door and picked up a valuable frag. And this is what we see Burn do all the time. He's always in a position, it's getting information, but also he's able to get that call off to the rest of his team to do his bidding, and Savage should be able to get an AK here, but he's very cautious in doing so. Question is, they find a frag quite quickly. Are they going to be able to get that retake? Mizzy plays a dangerous game, Noobs to losers. And this is very doable here still, but they need to find themselves another frag. I don't think they're going to be able to do so. They're just going to try and opt to see if they can get some exit frags. Should be able to secure this here. Mizzy, I don't know if he needed to do that. He could have been able to take some weaponry away into the next round, but they're just going to try and make Ground Zero lose all their weaponry. It's not going to be a huge consequence either, because their money is running quite healthy as a result of being on that T side, and of course winning the 5 rounds straight that they have. I think Downfall might have been better positioned to actually take that weaponry into the next round.
I think I would be on your side there as well. I prefer erring on the side of caution rather than attempting such aggressive plays. Like, when they'd found this kill, that's where I draw the line. You've already killed 3 of them. That's pretty big reinvestment. And I think from that point forward, it serves you better to save those weapons. So oh, where was that from? Up on top? Yeah, it looks like it. Noobs on top of the marshmallow, and he's taking some sweet kills. That's horrible, really heartbreaking. He got there so quickly as well. Excellent movement. You can see it caught 2D off guard, that's for sure. And 5 versus 4 on the back of it. Downfall losing their outside control. They're shifting into position with Mizzy to try and fill up that gap, but it means now they've got no support on the A side. If a push comes through, they need to win these opening duels, and well, Moop is in a very aggressive spot considering that little factoid. He's even pushing forward. That is crazy aggressive. Mizzy's been caught on outside by the op as well, and it seems like Downfall thought the best defense was a good offense, but unfortunately their offense wasn't good.
Yeah, they're just lacking the timed coordination on some of those pushes. Of course, opening frag to Noobster, that was a result of just getting himself in good position early on, but the CT side, they weren't really coordinated with their pushes. I didn't really see too much happening. It's, you know, if you're going to take control of team mid or something of the like, you need to have a push-pull effect. You need to at least be trying to put pressure on other areas of the map whilst also trying to capitalize on the flank, or alternatively just pushing in with some coordinated flashes. I didn't see any of that. Now they're in a position where they're just going to have to try and save. The bomb plant hasn't come in just yet, but Ground Zero are not taking any chances. They're just going to roll on into this lower site, put that bomb plant down, and extend the round by about 20 seconds at least. So let's just see what Downfall can get away with. Yes, if they can actually save the weaponry. I don't see Ground Zero immediately going for the push here, though I think it probably is in their best interests to have at least 2 players try and push their way through, see what they can get on offer here, see if they can take the guns out of the hands of Downfall. But I don't think they're going to get there in time at all, Mitch. That was a well-played round, actually, from Ground Zero, because all they had to do was be patient. Downfall handed them each and every one of those frags.
We actually saw that over on Vertigo as well, the patience of the T side in a couple of rounds where they would lose the opening duel that as few times as that happened, and then they would answer back by just holding, and Downfall consistently gave them the opportunities. What was most confusing to me there was the fact that Moop decided to push T main at the same time that Mizzy decided to push outside, both shift walking. And the idea there, normally when you go for, like, let's say an outside push, if you're pushing outside, presumably there's some presence on ramp or some presence in main that you think that they've left that gap unchecked, right? But if you push both of those angles at once, shift walking through, odds are one of you is going to run into an enemy. Both of them did. Those enemies were holding because they weren't pushing anywhere, so obviously they're holding. Oops, able to open this one up, but yeah, it's only the one. Now they're on range and they're just getting shut down. They have rifles, they have a full buy. But it always seems like, okay, well, they've brought it back to a 3v3 with Maker low HP, so it's definitely doable. But I feel like Ground Zero so consistently pull these rounds back.
Certainly have. Now, they've locked Savage out of position for the moment. Back to this 3 versus 3, and time is ticking away here. The downfall Savage. He's just going to be the first one to try and spur them into action, but I think they've made a call. Just to err on the side of caution here. Maker's leveled the last 2 CTs that have tried to enter his top site unauthorized. And Licky, all he can do is lick his wounds as he holds that AWP. Ground Zero. They are on a tear right now on this T side. And the money situation for Downfall is either going to see them try and force into this. I don't think they're all going to have optimal weaponry, but at least they're going to try and make something happen here. They're at this stage of their CT half where they need to start trying to make things happen. But on the end of that is a dangerous game that you play. So they've actually opted for the AWP. It's Mizzy that unfortunately has to go with the UMP. But Ground Zero, they're making a good case for their T side here. They're rolling on with the momentum we saw on that Vertigo map, where they really just started to put the nails into the coffin of Downfall. And I think they're continuing it now on their T side of Nuke.
Why has Mizzy got the UMP and not Moop? Moop plays close on HUT, and Mizzy plays outside support. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And obviously now he's moving in, but for the first 30 seconds of this round, he's been outside with a UMP. Not the best of weapons for that position. He gets a nice close range duel, but unfortunately it's an execution. And the second player is going to run right on into him as well. The looks of things. Burn, are you okay? Taken down though, so it's all good. 2D hits the shot that I think that was vertically through the vent. As Noob backs off and looks for a victim. He's not being presented any opportunities. Now, we talked about this, the slow T side. This is where GZ just hit the brakes and wait for an opportunity, but this time they've got Maker in a prime position to catch a flank. He's coming up through the vents. No one's spotting him. If he checks his left as he comes out, it could be a free kill. Noob actually shuts him down first. Spotted out from heaven. Look at the HP. Noob is literally on 3 health. No way he wins that. And finally, a first round for Downfall comes through. Great work by the CT side to pull back those duels. But it is just concerning because we saw on Vertigo as well, B site, they were holding with an MP9. It was like the one SMG they had was the solo B players. It feels like they're not allocating their weapons very well.
Yeah, it feels as though, yeah, you're right. They're just not putting the right pieces in the right place. And yeah, it was a round win for Downfall, but they're still in danger. They lost 3 members in that round, and you could see their economy was only teetering on the side of decent enough to buy into that round. So this is a very important round here because despite all that hard work in the previous round, it can be undone here by just pushing that CT economy here. 2D coordinated push onto Llamas. And this is what we're liking to see from Downfall. They did it with support this time. You could see he had a teammate in tow. And that's just put Ground Zero on the back foot momentarily.
Again, the tactic in these situations, the majority of the time, is just being pump the brakes and wait for a mistake. Smoke's coming towards outside to try and make Downfall sweat a little bit, but they won't be pushing on the back of it. The flashes, the mollies, everything's going towards outside. But they're going inside. Everything but the terrorists. As they look to move all the way towards ramp, it's Licky that's holding down. This man had an insane first map. He's looking to take down his former teammates as they swing on through and look for his head and find it straight away. What a shot by Lays.
2D coming through with the reply, but they have control of ramp and they're going to go straight under as well. Ground Zero. Good Molotov there actually onto Savage. It's going to prevent him from at least pushing out of that door. He's still got position though, so make a sound cue for him. He catches Mizzy off guard and they break things open into this lower bomb site, but 2D's still up and it's forced to 2 versus 1 here with Maker now just holding position here. They know where he is. They had the info, but he's just going to step in front of those Molotovs. And Maker now is playing a dangerous game with Moop, and Moop takes that duel. Maker wins. And he has certainly come through. And as I said, it's disaster now for Downfall, because at least right now they're going to have to sit on some pistols. It's Moop that's gone straight for that shotgun. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sitting on the hut again. And the rest of the team are just going to buy in with some pistols. Unfortunately, it's not a full broken economy. There is some reprieve now, the way that the money system works. But this is not good for Downfall. They're losing rounds where it's coming down to those 2 versus 2s, those 3 versus 3s. And that's where the experience of some of the members of Ground Zero are starting to show.
It definitely does feel like, Jim, in a lot of these fights, Ground Zero just far ahead on an individual level. And we said that on Vertigo as well, right? How many times do we see it? Players whiffing shots. We're taking an extra couple seconds to find the kill. The spray is not fully connecting, whereas GZ just turn and hit headshots. That is what is ultimately separating them, I think, on a core level. But they also have the team play is way better. Like, the fact that Ground Zero are constantly trading, it feels like they're much more efficient. Vertigo, I guess, was a map that Downfall thought they could catch them off guard, but straight away from round 1, we saw smoke executes coming out. And that's when I kind of went, oh, I guess that one advantage we said maybe was theirs wouldn't necessarily be in play. Look at this hold. Oh, no, the Mag 7 up close. Nothing you can do about this one. Shot in the back of the head and a free AK upgrade.
And $900 for your trouble.
Exactly. Well, he has sacrificed his teammates. Like, you ever see those things? Would you punch your friend for $1 million? Like, would you sacrifice your teammate for $900?
The answer is yes. Resounding yes. Not much Nicky could do. Compromising position. Savage. He meets his end through Lays, and now Moot. What can he do? Can't land the last transfer as Lay steps wide and puts another round on the board for Ground Zero. Now, this is another gun round where Downfall are going to be asked to come up with the goods once again. Interesting, though. No tactical timeouts, no pauses, nothing of the like. They're just going to go straight into this one and hope that what they put together is going to be good enough. That is a nutty transfer, actually, onto Savage.
Lays is unbelievable, mate. Like, his performance has been so sick. I think back to like that one round where I know there's been a couple of times actually. Oh my god, there's been a couple of times where this guy's gotten shot at, and his reactions are so quick that if you do not headshot him with the M4 and then get the spray after, if you're body shotting him to death, he will flick and headshot you so quickly you won't even know what time of day it is. And hey, we actually talked about this, Jim. Look, tactical pause.
Oh,
they called one.
Hey, there we go. They needed it. I think that's important to reiterate, is that they needed it. They needed. You
found
that
the line
breather
in the sand. When you're 9-1 down, that's when a tactical pause is like, oh, these things exist.
Yeah, it's like, guys, do we back ourselves in enough on T side to make it difficult from here on in, or do we try and win some rounds? And I think they've just opted for the faster approach here, Ground Zero. They're going to bust onto this top side. The UMP makes a return for some reason. Lamas, I don't think he was expecting. There's no reason. He had money to go for that. Oh, they make it work. It's strange to me to see a UMP in 2020 on entry. It might have worked in 2016, but it was good for a few frags. That's about it. But Ground Zero, looks like the gravy train has come to an abrupt halt. It's been derailed. T-side economy, as a result of no plant on that round, does not enable them to buy into this next. So this is a chance now for Downfall. It was an important round for them. They took that tactical timeout. They took that breather. And all Ground Zero did was rush on the back of it.
There's the opening. It's almost more found. Would have been a complete shutdown. GZ did still lose 2 players, and with the pistols in hand, it's not the worst, obviously, but there goes the one rifle, the Galil that they had remaining. It's now up on top of the roof. It's irretrievable, at least for Maker it is, for now. And with that, I mean, this is quite convincingly going to be a 3rd round, you'd imagine, for Downfall. It is so desperately needed, and thankfully they called that tac pause. Or I'm not sure. I didn't actually see who called it. Or, did you catch it? If it was Downfall or GZ?
It needed to be Downfall, but I didn't catch it either. But
yeah, I would assume.
That being said, though, the rush off the back of the tac pause when you're on the T side, that's going to essentially burn a UMK. That's his kind of call. If the other team calls attack pause, chances are they're trying to settle things down, and what's the best way to disrupt settling down? That is just rushing on the back of attack wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Especially if they call that attack and realize, okay, they're not going to have that much money now. So, decent chance they eco this one. You just come out with UMPs swinging to sight. You're like, oh, okay, cool. That's not what we expected.
Dear me, ground zero. They're just going to try for a very, very simple Glock rush here. They're going to walk into, looks to be a trap here. Licky's in the perfect position. 2D will take the aggression. And this is time to bank that dank bank. And there he goes. Licky finds 3. Looking for that 4th. Trying to justify the investment into the MP9. Noobs is not keen to give it to him, but in the end, he runs into Savage, who had the XM. And he's put to a grim end. This is going to be now ground zero. I would expect them to buy into this. They got plenty of money. And oh, let's just see that head to head. Okay. I think that's on the back of quite a few saves coming out from Downfall.
Yeah, definitely.
To be honest.
Definitely.
Interesting strat.
Yeah, I'm surprised Downfall don't upgrade here. You're coming into the second last round. You know GZ are going to full buy. I would be 100% behind. Like, it's only 2 upgrades they would make, or even just the 1 on Licky. Like, leave the XM, sure, it can do a pretty good job of holding where Savage is right now. But I disagree. I feel like Licky's been left with, especially being Licky of all players. Like, I'd be chucking this guy my M4. I'm like, hey, I'll hold up close. I got you. Obviously, in his position, he can still do a lot of damage, but I don't know. I'd feel more comfortable if he had an M4 in hand. And I think they've got the money to... They definitely do have the money to spare that. So it's odd, but it is what it is. As we said, it feels like resource...
They can buy for the next 2 rounds. They can buy for the next 2 rounds. They lose this one, they could still buy in the last. So that's strange for me that he would keep the MP9 in a round where they knew that there was a risk of them buying. And 2D, he makes good in that first pick. Important for Downfall to just maintain the numbers now. That smoke clears, and he's just trying to find something. Can't quite find the transfer onto Lays. Lays has just proven himself to be a laser beam. Ray's taking his picks here, and now he finds the tip. And I thought for a second there was a collateral. The timing didn't lead me to believe otherwise. But now Llamas, what can they salvage out of this? 2D's been put under pressure. He's got a teammate support, but he's going to be left to hang out to dry. Licky with that MP9 will find the frag. It's not going to be huge consequences. As I said, they got money to buy into the next round, but it's left Noobster in a 1 versus 3 situation. He does have the bomb, but he's going to meet some resistance here. I don't know if he's going to have much more time. That grenade is going to take out his sound, and Mizzy gets busy with the M4.
Very important plant, though, for the money over on ground zero. They really needed that to be able to buy up into this one. Yeah, look at the cash for Downfall. Definitely could have invested that previous. Very, very odd. Resource allocation. I don't know why allocation took me so long to think of, but that's what I was going with. It just seems like very odd allocation of the resources because they're consistently coming through with like a player having an SMG. Like, look at that time to kill, right? If he's not covering his teammate and he hits that kind of shot, he's dead. And that's Licky out of the round. That's not at all what you want.
This is a completely left field note, but have you ever noticed how tight those singlets are in ladder room?
No?
They're very small. Very thin waist. Not too sure what's going on there, but Bernie UK is just trying to probe. Interesting talking point. Something. Left field. Moop does find Bernie UK. Bernie UK, again, is just doing what he's always done and just put himself in that martyr position, trying to force something early on in the piece, and that's just spurred ground zero into action here. Mizzy actually gets caught in the spray, and Maker will be able to pick up something better for his trouble. So just getting that spam in, but that's not where the action is. Licky was waiting for that door to open, and now Maker's going to have to make good in that 3 versus 1. They should know where he is roughly. But you can see very keen on making sure he has no entrance into this round. Downfall finds some very important rounds, some momentum at the end of that half. The last 5 go their way, but is it going to be enough? Have they done enough on their CT side?
Well, I'm not too sure. You know, I feel like They really, really did warm up into the end of that. Downfall came out of those last, I think, 4 rounds looking better as a team than we've seen them so far. But at the same time, they have given away so much to the T side of Ground Zero. It feels like they woke up a little bit too late, and coming back into this will definitely be difficult, but not impossible. For Ground Zero, though, if they get off to a good start, if they win this pistol as well, then I'm getting worried. I'm presuming this is a technical pause. I didn't see anything pop up for tactical.
Yeah, I would presume the same as well. But I mean, in terms of a chance for the team to talk through, this is what Downfall need. They needed a little bit of a breather to just talk it out. They've had some good momentum. They've got some positives to take into this second half. So in terms of what they offer now on the pistol round, I haven't seen anything bought from either of these two teams on the T side. It's the most important side to look to see what they're going to be able to do. I mean, from Ground Zero's perspective, Bernie Wake's gone to CZ. That's an interesting combo for me, particularly with the grenade as well, because the draw time on the CZ doesn't lead me to believe he's going to be playing in a close position, at least in the initial stages.
Yeah, we could be looking at like an outside nade straight away.
Yeah, potentially straight through into to Squeaky. That makes sense.
Or even just hold it for a retake as well. There's always that potential. You don't see the CZ bought up in pistol rounds all too often, so I'm curious. Let's keep an eye on where he goes.
Yeah, particularly when the Julie's on offer, but I think he wanted that grenade as well. So look to see what Ground Zero do. In comes the ramp push. Okay.
She made straight ahead of themselves. That smoke works to conceal them as they come around the corner. Burn is shredding with the CZ, and a firing squad coming through. Maker on the flank, straight through the squeaky door, and Lamas as well catches them in the back. That was a crunch on lobby, and boy, was it crunchy. The sound of a broken Downfall as 10-6 comes on the board, Jim. We said they needed to win that pistol round. Well, hey, we're far from it.
And Bernie, okay, we said, what has he got planned with that CZ? Well, that's exactly what happened. Now, Makey came through the squeaky door, made it all that more difficult for Downfall. Single flash is going to come through the squeaky here. They're going to try and get either into topside or down the vent to get an all-important plant. Molotov's just going to slow things up momentarily and allow Ground Zero to get in position above the hut. So I guess let's just see how effective the flash is going to be. Maker looks for 1, 2. He finds a second. Is he going to prevent the push down the vent? And he does. And that is enough for Ground Zero to stop the T economy from being any better in this round. They're going to come into it with AKs at the very least, as Downfall now begin their T half.
Well, you asked Jim, did they do enough over on the CT side? I think the resounding answer with that loss of the pistol round and the follow-up is almost certainly no. They're so far behind. Look at that. 5 behind on the attacking side of Nuke versus a team that has fundamentally, in the majority of the game so far, looked better than you as a unit. And just look at Burn. We talked about this. What is this? The guy's got an MP9 and he's just ran up outside. No one got flashed, and they lose 2 long-range aim duels with AKs. This is ridiculous. I was about to underline his over-aggression, and the dude just kills 2 of them. That's not even allowed. That's just stupidly good from Burn.
And look at this. In amongst all the mayhem, Maker's also pushed through. He's on the roof behind the T's. They're outside. They've got to now watch their backs. They've got to watch their flank. Yeah, Noobster was cordoned off and dealt with, but that was the opening that Maker needed, and he threw a few haymakers, and now he's got position over the back of Downfall. They know where the last is, and it's a long-range MP9 from Lays.
They're not even playing Counter-Strike at this point, Jim. Like, that's just insane. What is that? Like, dude's just running up outside with an MP9. Like, no worries. I'm just going to kill them all. Look at the guys weren't even flashed. He double sprayed them down, for God's sake. That's just stupid. Look how aggressive they got as well. And everything's working out for them. Like, imagine this from Downfall's perspective. You lose the pistol round because they just come running at you like lunatics. And in the second, obviously, you're going to lose. You come in, you buy, you're like, all right, boys, this works. He's just mollied and ran through it. What is this? And look at Burns coming up behind them. What's that? Burn. Okay, they caught him. They killed him because he's against pistols. But this guy literally only has a W key on his keyboard. He's just he threw a Molotov on ramp and just ran through it against an eco. What is going on in this guy's head? And why is it working most of the time?
There's no respect. That's what it is. Absolutely no respect shown towards his opposition, who are quite clearly, you know, in terms of team fundamentals, they don't have them yet. They're a newer squad. So for them to be in this competition, it's going to be tough for them. Mizzy makes work difficult here for Noobster. It's certainly winnable. A downfall, and there we go. And I think that's on the back of, as you said, some ridiculous plays. Burn, are you okay? Didn't need to push to the Molotov. However, he felt as though he could be of assistance in a full topside rush on that fast flank. Now, this is where things break down for Downfall. And they find the frags that they needed. That was some great work here with that MP9. Mizzy has come through with some very important frags. Of course, the final frag here onto Noobster mid-air as well. So Noobster was just going to always stick that. He didn't have the HP to try and take that duel.
They lost that round 100% because Burn just pushed, like, completely brain dead push on that one. And obviously, that is the strat at the moment. That's why they won. Like, you could say the same at the pistol round. You'd say the same at the outside push where he found 2 kills. Like, it's just crazy. And I get that, right? Sometimes you do have to just switch off and you're in a position like this and play sheer confidence. But that time they got punished for it. And that's why I'm losing my mind when he did it in the pistol. Definitely when he did it versus the full buy. Because you're like, a lot of the time you're going to just throw the round away. But obviously Ground Zero, I think they're so far above Downfall individually that they can just do that. I think now, though, they're going to wake up and realize, all right, look at it. We've been punished for it. Now it's time to put that on the back burner. Burn. He's going to push this smoke. I see the smokes go down. I immediately know because it's Burn. He's going to push this smoke. And look at the timing on that. The flank is so good. None of these plays worked for him on Vertigo. He's just been punished in the previous round for over-aggression, but this time he's got it. He's down there in time. He drops the bomb. He's looking for more. A little bit over-aggressive for my liking, but he's got 2 teammates in vent, and they know that bomb is down. Out goes Lays. Hello and goodbye as he falls, but the trade is there for Maker a little wider. This is a bit of a crazy round as Downfall are losing players left, right, and center, and they've got to be really getting frustrated with how little respect they're being shown at this point. Ground Zero are just playing this insanely confident game, and it is working from start to finish.
It is so difficult to find your feet when you are being disrespected to this level that Downfall are. Ground Zero, it's no respect. That's essentially what they're doing. They're taking the fight to Downfall when they're on the T side of Nuke. There's no need to. There's no reason to. And Bernie, you okay? He's just finding those openings. This is what he's doing in most of these rounds anyway. Whether he's on the T side or whether he's on the CT side, he's making those individual push plays. He's just getting that information going through. Now, a bit more of a relaxed setup here from Ground Zero. Just playing a bit more traditional and giving them some reprieve. But I think that's on the back of the fact that they know there's a good chance that Downfall are going to be ecoing into this round. So let's just see. Oh, Moop takes a lot of damage there. I think he came face to face with Bernie okay in those stairs. And actually Moop does take down Lays. So this could be trouble here unless Llamas can find the lineup. Oh no, he's made a meal of that. He only gets 1 for his trouble and they push their way through to the lower site. Complex should come through, but they need to be careful here because they could be torn apart in the flank. And Mizzy finds 2 in quick succession and it's left Maker in an untenable situation because I think all he's going to be able to do here is save that AWP, and I think the call's been made for him. He doesn't get a choice. It's that 3 versus 1 in the lower side. That's a very difficult prospect for any CT to make. And, well, that went pear-shaped for Ground Zero. They played a traditional round, and they were quite simply outclassed there by Downfall. Downfall made the time pushes. Made it look a little bit easier than they have on the gun rounds, that's for sure.
I've just had the best content idea. Oh, hold on. Maker's getting pushed. He turned from the flash, so he wasn't able to catch the shot, and he hits it. It's okay. He saved the weapon. I've had a great content idea, Jim. So hear me out on this one, right? You get players to take 6 different pictures, and the first picture is just them neutral, like the Llamas face there, just kind of staring at the camera. The second one is like a little smile, like noob smile. Then it's maker, and it gets slowly bigger and bigger. And you program it in so when they find one kill, they have a little smile. Then a second kill in the round, big smile. Third kill, massive smile. And if they get an ace, like their hands are in the air and they're like, yeah, it would be that'd be pretty cool. Just like, and when they die, it's just a sad face.
So you want the reverse of the Doom avatar? You ever played Doom?
Oh yeah, when he gets injured, right? Yeah,
When
exactly.
he gets injured, blood starts pouring out of his face. This is the opposite.
Yeah, the exact
A little bit more
opposite of
jovial.
that. A bit more friendly for sponsors. Oh, they're checking up top. There's USBs everywhere. 4 players stacked up. That's huge, man. They just got 2 kills. Rifles retrieved, and Savage is running away. He should be. He's sticking around. He's gonna get challenged, but they're peeking him one by one. Bit of a mistake.
Oh, they've just fed him.
Sneaky boy.
I don't know how Maker's got away with that for at least one. Timing worked out in his favor, but he's swiftly punished. Now, Lays is a sharpshooter. He does have the AK in hand, so this is doable. And I think he's just been given instruction to try and go for this. They're going to buy in the next round anyway. And they know that the T economy isn't fantastic. So if he can do some damage here, take another weapon out of the economy of the T side, he might just be able to do so. In fact, no, he's just going to get away with that AWP. I think that's a smarter choice, to be honest. Because the CT economy is good, but it's not good enough to buy an AWP in the next round, at least without foregoing some important utility and armor. That is for sure. Now, does manage to hold on to it, at least for the moment. Needs to be careful of that flank. And ground zero. Nope. In comes the CT side buy now. Or is it? Are they just going to play a light buy off the back of that AWP? Okay, they're going for the longer game here. I think that's not a bad call. They've got a decent lead, and the tactical timeouts come out on the back of that as well. So, not surprised to see that one, to be honest. Now, Mitch, Downfall, they're looking a little bit better. They're looking a little bit more confident, but do you think that's just because Ground Zero haven't done anything unconventional in these last few rounds?
I mean, honestly, this has been so wild at the moment. I don't even know what a normal round is for Ground Zero at this point. I don't know what Counter-Strike is anymore. It's all just fading away in my brain. But my concern is, right, yeah, I agree. Downfall are looking more confident. They're looking a little bit more solid. But when it comes through to the next round and Ground Zero got a full buy, and Burner UK doesn't decide to just W key through and push like an absolute lunatic, I'm imagining then you're going to see Downfall struggle a little bit more. Or at least I don't know what the hell to expect. And I think that's a problem, because if we don't know what to expect, Jim, we get to see everything. We get X-ray, right? I don't think Downfall quite know what to expect either. And that can be a real problem for them in future buy rounds, because like you have to hold defaults. You have to wait a lot of time. You can't really play a comfortable setup for you, because you just don't know what's going to be waiting around that corner or what's going to be coming around the corner. They're winning these duels for now, though. It's only up against Deagles. And really, Noob is the only player that matters. He's got the AWP. And it doesn't look like he'll get an opportunity to use it, as they've gone down towards the B side. So, most likely, he'll save that weapon. And I think even more so because Lays is 4-spot up. So I don't even want to see an exit attempted by either of those two players. Lamas can attempt one, but the other two need to save.
I think even then, Llamas will be trying to pick up something for Lays in this next round. So let's just see if he can find anything on offer here, and he is going to be peaked. Needs to be careful of that silo. And Ground Zero, they've been put on the back foot. This one started to bleed out for them a little bit. They did have a more commanding lead, but I think just off the back of a round where they were broken on it. They were ecoed, effectively. There was just some pistols coming through, and, you know, Downfall. They made it work. They caught Ground Zero, not necessarily doing anything too unconventional. They've been doing quite a bit of these timed pushes into T-Lobby, taking key areas of the map away from Downfall, and just creating chaos and confusion. That's allowed members to sneak through, whether that was Maker pushing through up onto the roof behind them, Burn with his solo pushes as well, just genuinely making life difficult for Downfall. So an important round coming out. The T economy is very good. So this is a round that's very much needed for Ground Zero, just to try and wear their way through the T economy and of course edge themselves closer towards that 16th round. So if it doesn't go their way, they find themselves increasingly on the back foot here.
I like the approach as well by Lays to buy up that MP9 in the previous round, because obviously he could get dropped like an XM and hold close this round if he hadn't been able to save the SMG. Burn might have been spotted. No, he gets away with it, but only for one. That's a good trade for Downfall. They've now thinned out the defense, and on Nuke especially, you know that's going to cause rotates down towards the B site. Why? What and why is my question. They thought maybe everyone would rotate. Panic? Leaky just goes out, dies to the op. Now all of a sudden it's back to a 3v3. That's crazy.
They get that plant too, so that is now a retake that's going to be forced out of Ground Zero. The flash comes through from Maker. Nothing on offer. Just Savage in that hut, trying to make sure that the 2 versus 2 doesn't ensue. Now, this is a bit of a standoff here at the moment. Noobster makes that first move. He is flattened by Mizzy, and it's left Maker in a 1 versus 2. And you can see the readjustment coming through from Downfall. That has made Maker just think about where he has to go. Now he just baits Mizzy into that duel, and all Savage has to do is play the time. I'm sure that's what the instruction was from his teammates. He will try and take him out as he gets away with the save. And Maker, I thought for a moment there he might have gotten away with nothing out of that round. And Downfall take an important round in terms of bringing back the economy. The only player that has anything to play with really is Noobster. And that's in the back of him obviously taking that AWP in a previous round.
It's a good answer back by Downfall. Now they're 13-11. Now they're showing us that they've at least got that capability. But there are those little cracks. The push out from Leaky, it really didn't seem necessary. No flashes, like nothing used up to try and push players off the angle. I think that they presumed on the back of that outside kill and 3 players being spotted, that outside of the one that was killed, that they would fully rotate. That's unfortunate. This isn't really a round where you expect a whole lot. Maker with the saved over AK was able to get 1, but on this low HP and the timing as well. Oh no. Burn lined them up, put Savage to 2 HP. That could have been dangerous. Hell, you give him an AK in that position, he probably gets the double.
The timing didn't work out for Maker as well. I think that's the most important part. Just changing his angle at the very last millisecond, and that cost him. So Downfall are now within striking distance. And I think Ground Zero have done a great job of getting their economy nice and healthy to be able to buy in the next couple of rounds, because their loss bonus is at, it is the maximum. So they're going to be able to try and get themselves as much out of the next couple of rounds as possible. So good economy management there from Ground Zero. A lot of teams in lesser positions might find themselves forcing into rounds that necessarily were unnecessary. Should I correct myself there? But Downfall riding high on confidence. We saw it at the end of that first half. They're a team that can string rounds together if they get going. And this is exactly what they've been able to do on the T side. They've been able to just put rounds together. They're a young side in these sorts of competitions. The only thing missing, aside from a bit of experience, is the confidence that comes with being experienced. And now they've got a little bit of confidence. They've got an opponent in Ground Zero that they've been able to just wear away. First molly there coming out from Burn. That allows them to up the ante here. But in the meantime, Lays finds 2. It's a good trade, though, from the T side. They've broken their way into this top site. It's back to a 3 versus 3, Mitch. They need to be careful here. Burn's just caught in that annex. That Molotov is going to prevent his escape. The smoke is just going to make things more difficult.
Curious to smoke it and then nade when the player was trapped in the right side. Probably would have went for the nade first, but the one that was returned by Burner, that was delivered first, I should say, Moop and Leaky down very low HP. Leaky took a little too long to kill Lays there, and yet again we see him get away with 2 kills in a position where he probably should have been dead. What's curious, though, is that GZ actually decide on the save. They don't want to go through on this. I think it's the right call in a way. And that way is that obviously it's 13-12. You don't want to throw this round away and be forced down to an eco, and all of a sudden you're 14-13 behind. But at the same time, with the HP in play, they obviously didn't know about it. But it could have been theirs. It could have been their round. Now they've got to compete at 13-13, tied up with a team that didn't pick this map, that were behind at 12-6 at one point and have built up so much momentum on this T side. You know, I'm always slow to believe in a team's comeback, but the last 2 buy rounds have looked pretty good.
Certainly got ground zero on the back foot. They've knocked the wind out of their sails per se, at least in terms of those over aggressive pushes. I think downfall, they've made the opponents respect them. That's super important in a game like this. Now, yeah, great call by ground zero to make that save early on in the piece. They lose another player, this round becomes increasingly difficult. They just didn't have the money to give them all the utility and weaponry they needed. And we know that the CT side, they are very dependent on having utility to limit the options of the T side. But they're going to this top side here. Maker, he is just barreled. And that is Savage, the youngster, dapping his way into the top side. And now there's no option here for ground zero but to save again.
Yeah, pretty much. Even Burns actually playing an exit, and they've managed to lose their AWPer. That is a little bit heartbreaking. Definitely not what you want.
Now this is more in line with the OCE that I know. Lose your map pick, and then go to the third. That's usually what we've seen. But Mizzy, he knows what's up. He's not letting any hide and go seek champions prevail today. He takes the gun out of the economy. City side are obviously going to buy into it anyway. The economy management, as I said, was actually quite good. If they were in this sort of position, they at least gave themselves some options coming into the last round. Not surprised to see the tactical timeout come out either. I think that's very important at this stage. Round zero, make that call, and they've made the right one, so they're going to talk about it right now. Are they going to go, though, to that more aggressive approach, or are they going to orchestrate something a little bit more traditional?
Well, I imagine straight away we're going to see something like Lamas on a weaker weapon and holding up close. He won't really have the depth to go through for more aggressive plays on the back of that. And so I'm guessing we're going to see a more traditional Counter-Strike out of them at this stage. Burn can buy up an op and give it over to his teammates. So we're good. We got a nice, well-rounded buy. Lamas actually got dropped to FAMAS, so it's not really that bad at all, actually. I thought maybe we'd see like an XM for extra utility. This is an important round. If they lose this, the game is pretty much gone, and they will have to go to a third map. We'd have Inferno coming up momentarily.
They're expecting something faster here, though. Look at the Molotovs on ground zero. They've pretty much coated the squeaky door and ramps in... Well, sorry, just the squeaky door for the moment. In fire. And look at downfall. Haven't really dropped the smokes outside. They've just got that closer smoke here to try and close things off a little bit, but they're going to try and go for it once again. They're not expecting ground zero to have that AWP. I think it's safe to say they're going to force those duels into... Oh, I think they've actually hesitated a little bit too much for my liking. They haven't... Yeah, they've only just got themselves into to ghetto. But that was a dangerous cross. They didn't have any smokes outside to block vision. And Savage, the young man on point, they've got themselves up close and personal with ground zero here in these duels. Now Burns under a bit of pressure. That is a great flash. Enables Savage to get the kill that he needs, and that just might start to open things up for downfall here and push themselves towards match point. But Lamas has arrived on scene. Now he needs to be careful. He's been spotted out, and this is very, very tough now for the CT side. Very difficult to convert 3 versus 5s on CT.
Yeah, they obviously opened this round up by looking for ramp control with the op, who's in position and able to shut down one. Now worried about a flank, though, gives the opening for Savage to continue pushing through and gain that control down on the ramp itself. They're going to plant on the B site. And the position of Savage hasn't been spotted yet. He almost catches out that op. They realize now it's B. They know there's one B site, one ramp, and one unknown. And saving is probably, again, the most likely play for the CT side. And yeah, look, they're already going towards the T spawn. This is heartbreaking. I mean, if you're ground zero and you were 12-6 up at one stage, I'm just double checking. Yeah, 12-6, and you end up in this spot where downfall are all the way back in the game. You've got to be kicking yourself. The CT side as well.
They're coming for it as well. Noobster, what are you doing? Look up. What are you focused on? Is he... Oh, dear me. They've lost that extra gun out of the economy. Yes, they've saved the AWP, but an M4 has been taken out. Now, ground zero, this is not good. This is not good. Because they've gone from playing super confident. They've disrupted Downfall at every opportunity. But Downfall have actually managed to fight their way back into this. And they've had the odds stacked against them. The T-side economy wasn't good. They won their first round in what seemed like forever on the back of a light buy. And it was just something as simple as grouping up and pushing through ramps. So Mizzy now just seeing what he can find outside. Now, this is a bit more of what we saw from Ground Zero in earlier rounds. So we're upping the ante, taking the fight. Noobs are in a very forward position. Now, Molotov's just going to force him to creep forward. He's not too sure where that landed, and that actually might land him in some hot water if Mizzy plays that patient game. So they've done a good enough job to sell their attention towards the outside, but it's going to be Llamas here now who's going to have to be called into action, looking to find the heads, the scalps of one he can only get in this moment, and they find their way into this lower bomb site. There is still resistance to be found though. Maker, he is not able to find a second, though he does a lot of damage. And again, they just keep popping up. Ground Zero in the wrong position, Lays. He couldn't find much there, the youngster. Now it's on Noobster. He was put up outside by a lot of action early on in the piece, and that is a great grenade. So this might be a little bit too difficult to do with the AWP, but the damage he's done with the pistol could be key in this round. Now, there's a very interesting off angle here. They know where he is. They're not going to take any chances here. Downfall. Are they going to take the map? Yes, they are. Licky will force a third here. So, Mitch, we are going to Inferno.
Going all the way in this series. Really impressive work by Downfall to come back into that. Those last